Carolyn Rousseau, introduced by Mark Wright, our former president. But before that, I just want to let you know that it's an incredible organization, one that I've been involved with going back to my dad's time, and the fact that it turned out that I started thinking about it, that I was probably the last of the Vietnam vets right after I graduated from the university. And speaking of the university, we have our business mentors group here today. And I'm going to make you guys all stand up. Let's give them a round of applause. Thank you, guys. It's great to have you here. This will be a great program for you. You're going to learn a little bit about history today, because most of you were not even born when all of this happened. Some of us lived through it, but you know, I could give you stories about the University of Washington and what campus was like during the Vietnam era. Yeah. What was that? Well, good. Yeah, I trust that there were a few more of us that were there then. But you guys didn't get chased off of the hub by a bunch of dogs that were ready to bite me when I was wearing my Navy uniform. So interesting things. We used to change our uniforms really fast because we did not want to get bitten by the dogs that were supposed to be peaceful. But anyway, they weren't. Enough of all of that. I also want to introduce to you one of our special guests, and I know Geraldine has a number of guests that are here from PeaceTrees Vietnam, but we have the former U.S. Ambassador to Vietnam, Michael Mahalik. He is here. Michael, would you stand up so that we can... So that we will hear, and I'm sure that when we have our question and answer period, we might be able to ask him a few questions too about what's happened today in Vietnam, because his time was clearly after we had already left Vietnam 50 years ago. All right, given all of that, I do need to let you know that, which is rather important to me, that this is National Foster Care Month. And that's especially important because all of us know about one of the organizations that is so critical in Washington State, Treehouse, has been totally defunded. Now that is a real shame. I'm just letting you know that, both from the state as well as the federal level, because Treehouse has been a very positive influence statewide in almost all of our counties in Washington State in helping foster youth and improving their educational possibilities. So that's sort of an impetus for all of you to consider giving to Treehouse. That's my paid, I am not on the board, but it's my paid announcement here with no pay. Given that, I also want to call Don Murphy and to the podium, because we have our music and our sing-along. And Bert is going to play the piano, and Don is going to tell us what we're singing.
Yes, we can start it right now.
That means stand up, guys.
Please stand up, yes. And what happens if you were at the university before the Vietnam War?
Oh, that means I'm not the oldest.
That's correct. Let's sing together, Imagine, which goes back really to the feelings that we had during the 60s and 70s and some of the feelings that we're having today. Imagine there's no heaven. It's easy if you try. No hell below us. Above us only sky. Imagine all the people living for today. Imagine there's no countries. It isn't hard to do. Nothing to kill or die for, and no religion too. Imagine all the people living life in peace. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us, and the world will be as one. Imagine no possessions. I wonder if you can. No need for greed or hunger. A brotherhood of man. Imagine all the people sharing all the world. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us, and the world will live as one. Clap yourself. Clap yourself.
Thank you, Don. Thank you, Burr. And thank all of you for participating in the music. A very poignant melody for today. I want to thank Charmaine Vasquez, Linda Cheever, and Garen Wedeking for greeting us, Paul Casey for meeting reporting, and walking up right beside me is John Steckler, who's going to make an introduction.
Sure. Wow. Thank you. Thank you all. Please keep going. Great room tonight. You must have heard this is our last meeting. I am so impressed. Everybody showed up for our last day here in the church. Hey, my fellow Rotarians and these honored guests in the room today, I have the great pleasure to introduce you to our newest Rotarian right here, Nathaniel Meyer. He joins us today. Hey, he joins us today under the classification of education. I also think he's the youngest Rotarian we've ever had, to tell you the truth. I'll tell you a little bit more in a minute. Nathaniel was born and raised in Hood River, Oregon. Small town, kind of created a love of community for him. And, oops, I forgot my slides. I got so excited to get up here. Let's see, how's this thing work? You hit that? Yeah, here we go. I'm on stage. Here he is. You know, it's amazing. Look at that. Even at an early age, Nathaniel exhibited great skills at influencing and engaging others, as he's seen here in this picture, brokering play dates for his fellow toddlers. It's an impressive young man. As a young boy, Nathaniel loved all types of sports. Really loved it. Look at that enthusiasm. And he's still very close to his parents, Maui, his dad, just like the island, and Jan, as seen here in this picture. In high school, Nathaniel was active in both sports and music, and today his love of music is expressed as a piano player, guitar player, and of his great singing chops. In high school, he started to realize his respect for nonprofit, and he went to work for a company creating PPE products for a local hospital. He graduated high school in 2021 and immediately went to school at the University of Washington. He flourished in science and biology, but he found himself drawn in a little bit different direction. More to come. Now, why Rotary? Nathaniel's father was very active in Rotary back in Hood River. As he grew up, his parents hosted many functions in their home, from the governor on down, and Nathaniel admired the people he met who gave back to their community, and they were all very successful. His father taught him to create a community where he could surround himself with good people doing good things. In March of this year, Nathaniel completed his studies. He'll graduate this June from the University of Washington's Runstead School with a degree in real estate. He's targeting a career in commercial real estate, brokerage, or development. So any Rotarians who feel they can give him a hand, he is wide open to any contacts or suggestions. Nathaniel sees real estate and community creation as his greatest hedge for him being successful in life, both financially as well as spiritually. Now, 2 years ago, Nathaniel's life took a big boost when he met his girlfriend, Jillian, while studying at the University of Washington. And Jillian is on track to graduate this year and will walk with Nathaniel in June. Now, with graduation soon to be behind him, Nathaniel looks forward to starting his Rotary and commercial real estate career at the same time. Nathaniel will always be the person to lead a group or organization to a successful outcome, not just in business, but in his life experiences as well. And with his servant mentality, Nathaniel is a force that impacts people every day. He interacts with them. He's a pleasure to all who get to see the great opportunity to experience him. So fellow Rotarians, I give you our newest Rotarian, Nathaniel Meyer, current classification education with real estate soon to come. Congratulations. And now, President John.
Yes. And given that, you know, I've got, don't leave yet. You get your pin.
Thank you so much.
You get your Rotary pin, and we're hoping that you'll join one of our committees, get yourself involved, and get yourself a job.
I'm looking forward to it. Thank you. Yeah,
Congratulations.
thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Okay, you've heard too much from me today, but given all of that, thank you, John. Congratulations, Nathaniel. And now I'm going to call upon our former president, Mark Wright, to give an introduction for our speaker and program today.
Thank you, President John. Fellow Rotarians, distinguished guests, I'm so honored to introduce today's program featuring the Seattle nonprofit PeaceTrees Vietnam. I hope you're ready for some inspiration because this woman is just that embodied. How does one person make a difference in the world? We all wonder that, right? And as I look around the room, I know a lot of you have an answer to that question, but our member and my dear friend Geraldine Brousseau's life story is proof that you don't have to be big or loud or powerful in the traditional sense to make a big difference in the lives of others. You just have to quietly show up every day, do the work, and a funny thing happens. People start to follow you. That's what I did when I first met Geraldine many years ago. It's important to mention, and a lot of you in the room know this, that PeaceTrees is Geraldine's personal response to profound tragedy she saw in her life. She'll tell you more about that. But the beauty of her story is that she deliberately chose to turn her pain and loss into a gift for other people here at home and people on the other side of the world in Vietnam that she didn't even know. When you hear the metrics of what PeaceTrees has done in terms of the work, you will be astounded. So many of you in the room know it has taken a village to raise up PeaceTrees over the decades, and thank you for your commitment. We're first going to hear from Geraldine, and then PeaceTrees' talented and determined, I've been using that descriptor since January 20th of this year, determined Executive Director Claire Juncker. Please give a warm Rotary welcome to my dear friend and the founder of PeaceTrees Vietnam, Geraldine Brousseau.
A warm hello to each of you. What an incredible day. We're gathered here to be together. We're having wonderful food, seeing people we haven't seen for a long time. And there's a story I'd like to share with you. And then you will hear from Claire. Her extraordinary, amazing way of growing PeaceTrees Vietnam for the last 10 years and now into the future. In these very tender times, I'd like to share a story with you, a story that once actually seemed impossible. On July 11th, 2025, the United States and Vietnam will celebrate the 30th anniversary of diplomatic relations between our two countries, our citizens, transforming former adversaries still into partnerships, fostering healing, safety, friendship, reconciliation, commerce, academic studies, and a positive future for the generations to come. 30 years ago, July 11th, 1995, changed the course of history for our two countries. A crack in the door opened for American families like mine who lost a family member in wartime to reach out to the Vietnamese people, to honor their losses as well as our own, and begin building bridges, strong bridges of trust and understanding between our people and our two countries. One moment, my papers were slightly shuffled. My brother, my younger brother, U.S. Army Lieutenant Daniel Cheney, and his co-pilot, Warrant Officer Walter Kozlowski, were killed near Xi'an, Vietnam, January 6, 1969, when their helicopter was shot down as they provided support to a downed fellow pilot. Their fellow pilot was rescued and survived. Dan and Walter gave their lives. The vision that moment for PeaceTrees was born. On January 1st, 1996, my late husband, Danon Perry, many of you may have known him, a nuclear physicist and peacemaker, and I moved quickly to reach the Vietnamese people, to propose working together to heal the devastating consequences of the war through sponsoring clearance of landmines and unexploded ordnance in the most war-torn provinces, and to begin building bridges of trust and understanding. Our then governor, Washington State Governor Mike Lowry, and distinguished guests, distinguished citizens, Kay Bullitt and Ann Stadler offered visionary support. Soon, very soon, we landed in Hanoi. Leaders of the country welcomed us as if we were members of their family, saying, "Come in, come in. It's time to close the past and open the future. We've been waiting for the American people for a very long time." Our hearts were melting. We were rejoicing to be welcomed. We shared our ideas with them, the leaders in Hanoi, and were invited immediately to Quang Tri Province, the former DMZ, the most war-torn province of Vietnam, considered by some historians as the most severely bombed battleground in world history. Quang Tri Province, about the size of King County, where more than 6.6 tons of munitions per person were expended in wartime. 3 villages out of 1,100 villages remained after the war. 84% of the landmass of the province remained contaminated by unexploded ordnance and landmines. That day, we experienced the terror of walking alongside a minefield, the heartbreak of meeting 6-year-old Zhang, who I will always remember, who lost his little brother and his own eye and hand when a bomb from wartime exploded in his family's garden. That day, we signed an agreement with Quang Tri Province provincial authorities to sponsor clearance of unexploded remnants of war and to bring volunteers, including American veterans and their families, to plant trees and grow friendships with the Vietnamese people. Since that day, thanks to the U.S. Department of State and the U.S. Embassy in Hanoi, Seattle Rotary, and donors around the country, PeaceTrees Vietnam is deeply grateful to Seattle for every one of you who may have passed on, everyone who may be coming. This organization has provided depth and strength and broadness of scope with us as a nonprofit organization founded on Bainbridge Island, Washington. Rotary Foundation grants and Seattle Rotarians are playing and have played an empowering role, building strong relationships with the Vietnamese people, increasing safety and well-being, easing the consequences of war. The International Service Committee grants, many of you are very familiar with these, have funded mine risk education programs in Quang Tri Province to reduce unexploded ordnance accidents for children and their families. District matching grants support healthful gardens, healthy children, nutritious agricultural training, learning for ethnic minority families in the mountainous area near Khe Sanh, near the Lao border. Serving our country in Vietnam, many officers. I'll begin with Admiral Herb Bridge, Carl Egge, Jim Leonardos, Admiral Tom Hayward, General Jimmy Collins, and every veteran of every conflict in our club. Carl invited his Princeton class of 1996 to build PeaceTrees' first kindergarten, honoring his two fallen Princeton classmates, Dave Hackett and Steve Kelsey. And then he traveled to Quang Tri Province to dedicate the kindergarten. He's with us in spirit today. The late Admiral Tom Hayward, our beloved Admiral Tom Hayward, built the Good Heart Kindergarten near Vietnam-Lao border to bring warmth and compassion for ethnic minority children in a very remote area. Community supporters like Ralph Monroe, a great friend of the Vietnamese people who came to the United States, invited Governor Dan Evans to speak for PeaceTrees Vietnam's 20th anniversary. How about that? That was incredible. And Mark Wright, our friendship ambassador, an extraordinary MC who has opened our anniversary luncheons, our special events, and supported us in countless ways through the last 25 years. Serving on our PeaceTrees Vietnam board of directors, I think they're here. Linda Cheever. Linda, you want to just... Linda Cheever, Cynthia Chereau, Tracy Garland, Mary Wagner, who's in Spain, Vicki Oxley in Paris, and Skip Roland. Traveling with our citizen diplomacy delegations, Kathy Gibson. Hey, Kathy. Virginia McKenzie couldn't make it today. Matt Albertson. Where are you, Matt? Sarah Horrigan, and many others. The International Service Committee. Imagine this. Helping us secure $87,500 Rotary International Global Grant. The 2020 Rotary International Educational Empowerment Grant for Quang Tri Province children in the most remote areas, with Seattle 4 and local club contributions of $25,000. District 5030, match of $25,000. Rotary International match of $437,500 for a total of $87,500, with the Calgary, Alberta Club serving as the international host. Working together, playing a key role in building strong bridges of trust and understanding with the Vietnamese people, strengthening the next generation of peace and friendship between our two countries. your love and my tears, your love and all of our tears, and your compassion in creating a safer, brighter future for, for the children and families in Quang Tri and Quang Binh to the north province, both provinces of Vietnam. Thank you all from the bottom of our hearts for making the impossible possible. Thank you. And now it is my great honor to introduce Claire Yunker, our extraordinary, incredibly brilliant executive director for PeaceTrees Vietnam for the last 12 years. Welcome, Claire.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for having me. It's a true honor to be here at Seattle 4. It's been a long time, and know that I'm a big fan of your club. So thank you very much for having us. I've had the privilege of helping lead PeaceTrees for nearly 12 years. And over that time, I've made somewhere around 20 trips to Vietnam on our behalf. And every time I'm struck by the scale of the challenge. Geraldine spoke to it a little bit a moment ago. The sheer number of bombs that remain in the soil and the danger they still pose 50 years later. And I'm equally moved by the brave and dedicated deminers who go to work each day. More than 300 team members who make land safe and offer future generations in their own country the true benefits of peace, security, safety, and opportunity. So before I go on, I would like to give you a chance to meet some of our team members in this video. That does have sound.
Boss, we've been having some audio issues throughout the day, so might not be here, but maybe you can describe it in notes.
I don't think so. I think it'd lose its impact, but maybe if we can get that worked out, I'll show it at the end. What you will see, I guess not, but some wonderful people giving blood from this club. But PeaceTrees enjoys, I'll speak a little bit to our team in Vietnam in lieu of a video and say that PeaceTrees is built on the shoulders of the people who founded this organization right here in Puget Sound. But even more than that now, the dedicated professionalism of the leaders in Vietnam. And the reason I wanted to share that video, and we'll maybe have the chance to share it at the end, or maybe we'll just send it out via email, it's also a great option, is to convey the profound privilege and responsibility that our organization feels to support the work of the people on the ground doing the work each and every day. And in January, I traveled to Quang Tri province to meet with our team and partners. And as always, the visit was meaningful. But this time, one moment stood out, and it's something that I won't forget. I was with my colleague Ha Pham, our country director, joining one of our demining teams in a rural ethnic minority village where families live on just a few dollars a day and rely on the land, contaminated land, for their livelihoods. The area had recently been identified as a place heavily contaminated with cluster munitions, each the size and shape of a baseball, dropped by the thousands, that had a between 10 and 30% failure rate. And the thousands and thousands that remain in the soil put people at risk every day and remain volatile. After a safety briefing with our deminers, we followed our team out to the site, just yards from a road, from a school, in the same forest where I'm sure that children play. And there they were, hidden in the underbrush, cluster munitions that had gone undisturbed for decades. And what struck me most wasn't the danger, although it was there, but how close this community had come to tragedy. And it was only thanks to the skill, the care, the vigilance of our teams and a few loud, controlled demolitions that they expertly made possible that community became safe forever. And when we left the site, my colleague turned to me and she said something that has really stayed with me. I'm proud to work at PeaceTrees because we make and keep our commitments. People know that will follow through. Sure, I'll introduce in a second. And that line has stayed with me. This year marks PeaceTree's 30th anniversary. And as we look ahead, I believe that our future is grounded in this very idea of the power of commitment and action. So with that, shall I press play or shall you? Okay.
Nè. Anh phát hiện vật liệu nổ ở đâu? Trong cái kéo đó.
Rồi em đã tiếp cận được vật liệu nổ chưa?
Tin trạng của quả đạn là bị reset mất màu sơn. Đường kính đi khoảng 105 mm, chiều dài khoảng 400 mm. Tin trạng ngòi đã gãy ngòi.
Nhiệm vụ của đội LD2 là đi tuyên truyền cho người dân hiểu rõ về tác hại của bom mìn còn sót lại sau chiến tranh và thu gom xử lý các loại vật liệu nổ còn sót lại khi nhân dân báo. Tất cả các vật liệu người dân báo thì chúng tôi sẽ cố gắng xử lý trong ngày để bảo đảm an toàn cho người dân.
PeaceTrees Việt Nam đã thực hiện chuỗi các cái hoạt động và chúng tôi tin rằng các cái hoạt động này nó bổ trợ và nó gắn kết với nhau, nó tạo thành một cái chuỗi để mang lại những cái tác động lớn hơn cho cái công cuộc khắc phục hậu quả bom mìn ở tại Việt Nam của PeaceTrees. Các cái hoạt động đó bao gồm là hỗ trợ nạn nhân bom mìn. Cái này là được thực hiện ngay từ những cái ngày đầu khi PeaceTrees Việt Nam đến với Quảng Trị. Cái hoạt động thứ hai đó là hoạt động giáo dục nhận thức bom mìn, tức là chúng tôi muốn chuyển đến những thông điệp an toàn cho trẻ em và cho người dân để hạn chế bớt những cái rủi ro có thể xảy ra đối với họ trong quá trình học tập, quá trình sinh hoạt, quá trình canh tác lao động. Cái hoạt động thứ ba đó là cái hoạt động ra tìm và xử lý bom mìn. Chúng tôi hiện tại đã có đến 13 nhân sự đạt được đến cái trình độ cấp độ 3 ở trong cái lĩnh vực là xử lý bom mìn vật liệu nổ.
Đội chúng tôi hiện đang là đội nhiều nhân viên nữ nhất của tổ chức bom mìn Việt Nam. Chủ yếu ở Cam Lộ thì tất cả các hiện trường chúng tôi đang làm việc thì bà con cũng đã sử dụng, nhưng mà mỗi mấy các vật liệu nổ dưới lòng đất thì vẫn đang còn rất chi là nhiều.
Cái hoạt động khác nữa đó là hỗ trợ phát triển cộng đồng sau rà phá, có nghĩa là chúng tôi mong muốn hỗ trợ cộng đồng để thực hiện các cái hoạt động phát triển sau khi mà đất đai đã được làm sạch, ví dụ như là xây trường mẫu giáo, ví dụ như là hỗ trợ các cái khu tái định cư, người dân làm sạch đất đai và người dân tái định cư trên đất đai đã được làm sạch đó, hay là hỗ trợ các cái hoạt động phát triển nông nghiệp sau khi đất đai đã được làm sạch. Hoạt động xuyên suốt của PeaceTrees Việt Nam và là một cái hoạt động rất là đặc thù, rất là biểu trưng của PeaceTrees Việt Nam, đó là cái ngoại giao nhân dân, nơi mà chúng tôi tổ chức những cái chuyến đi cho những cái người bạn ở Mỹ, để họ có mong muốn được kết nối, mong muốn được tìm hiểu và mong muốn được hiểu hơn về con người, về đất nước Việt Nam, đặc biệt là các cái khó khăn, cái thử thách của người dân Việt Nam trong cái quá trình mà phát triển, nhưng mà vẫn phải đương đầu với các cái hậu quả của chiến tranh để lại. Thông qua từ những cái hoạt động này thì chúng tôi cũng đã huy động được rất là nhiều cái sự hỗ trợ của người dân, của cả cá nhân, của người dân Hoa Kỳ cho các cái hoạt động hỗ trợ cộng đồng phát triển sau khi đất đai được làm sạch. Thì đối với PeaceTrees Việt Nam thì chúng tôi cũng cảm thấy cũng rất là tự hào khi kết nối được các cái nguồn lực khác nhau để mà hỗ trợ phát triển cộng đồng, hỗ trợ khắc phục hậu quả chiến tranh tại Việt Nam.
So now that you've seen some of the faces of PeaceTrees, I'd like to share 3 lessons of our first 30 years that are guiding our work into the future. The first, and Geraldine certainly spoke to this, that reconciliation takes patience and trust. Our work is slow and careful and humble, and the progress that we're making now has taken years to build up. Years of showing up, building schools, bringing citizen diplomats, training and equipping deminers. And through consistency, PeaceTrees has earned the privilege to help people farm, to build, to live in safety. And when trust is built, it unlocks the opportunities to do everything else. And lesson 2, the best way to build trust is through real action and collaboration. PeaceTrees' consistency has been powerful. Through our humanitarian med action programs, we've cleared 6,000 explosive remnants of war from 10 million square meters of land in the last year alone. We brought mine risk education to 17,000 people, again, in the last year alone. And once land is clear, we assist local communities in returning land to productive use through education and economic development. And so we have awarded 335 scholarships, all privately funded from people right here in this region. We've supported 687 children in 24 schools, again, with private support from people right here in this region. We've helped families grow stable incomes with goats, pigs, seedlings, technical training from this club and others, including Lake Forest Park Rotary, which I want to give a little shout out for their leadership on our global grant. And this year, we've planted 2,000 trees to restore degraded land and promote climate change resiliency and prevent erosion. And we intend to keep showing up. That's the lesson of these 30 years, and it's the one that we'll take with us the most. Which brings me to the third lesson of PeaceTree's story, and one that Mark spoke to. Individual citizens can really make a difference. If PeaceTree's story proves anything, it's that you do not have to be a policymaker or a diplomat to make a global impact. And at PeaceTrees, we've seen the ripple effect of this all over the place. In 2024 and so far in 2025, we've welcomed about 100 visitors to participate in our work through our citizen diplomacy program. We have a trip leaving in September led by Twa Nguyen, who's here. So if you're interested in joining us on a trip, this is the very best possible place for you to be. And none of these citizen diplomats were celebrities or officials. They were people like you and me who wanted to listen, learn, and connect. And our engagement, both here and in Vietnam, have been the foundation of our impact. And even as we enter our 4th decade of work in Vietnam, our work is not yet done. Thousands of dangerous bombs still litter the soil, endangering farmers, just as you saw in the video. And each of these munitions has the power to maim or kill indiscriminately. And thousands of them remain in a relatively small area. So we intend to scale up our work to meet this need, and because we know that we need to address the presence of bombs and mines all over Vietnam, not just where we have begun and where we've been working for the last 30 years. And we intend to evolve as Vietnam evolves. If you've seen the news, if you've been following the development of Vietnam, you know that the Vietnam of 30 years ago is very different from the Vietnam of today. And we are very proud to have grown and evolved along with Vietnam so that we can be a strong partner in these areas for a long time to come. And in short, we intend to make and keep our commitments, just as we promised to do 30 years ago. And in January, though, PeaceTrees' commitment was put at risk. In January, PeaceTrees was abruptly ordered to pause all U.S.-funded demining activities as a result of a January 20th executive order pausing all foreign assistance. And the directive was issued without warning that stalled our life-saving work. And for weeks, we operated in uncertainty. Our deminers couldn't work. They had to stand down. And they weren't sure if they could continue doing the work that they've dedicated their professional lives to carrying out. But thanks to the support of our congressional delegation here in Washington and a wide consortium of supporters, we were able to resume work in March. And we currently have permission to continue working under our U.S. existing grants until through spring 2026. So thank you all for that. Nonetheless, the broader foreign assistance question remains open and future funding remains uncertain. And that's why today I want to invite you to help sustain this work. And I have two specific requests for you as Rotarians and community leaders. The first is that I hope that in your work through Rotary and elsewhere, you'll help shine a light on how the legacy of war intersects with so many of the issues that Rotary is committed to addressing: food security, water access, climate resilience, global health. In many of the world's most vulnerable communities, explosive remnants of war remain an invisible barrier to progress in each of these areas. And because you know this, you can help raise awareness of how addressing war legacy is important to achieving lasting impact in these areas in every region of the world, from North Africa to Southeast Asia, where we work, to the Middle East, to Ukraine. And the second is that I invite you to join us, whether as a citizen diplomacy traveler in September or January or March. We've got trips going all the time, an advocate, or simply a friend that came here today and can convey our story to a friend. We hope that you can help sustain the progress we've made by helping spread the word about our work and the importance of this issue globally, because our work is far from over and we need you to be involved. So thank you very much.
Thank you for that. We have time for one question, so you got to make it a good one, Bob.
Thank you very much. It's a great presentation. Does the U.S. government participate in getting rid of some of this ordinance? And do they help you in locating any of it?
That's a great question. PeaceTrees is an implementing partner of the U.S. Department of State. So the U.S. does... the Congress appropriates money for mine action activities globally, and we're part of that effort. And of the total contribution, about $22 million goes to Vietnam, and our grants come from that pool. So we operate in collaboration with the embassy and with the U.S. diplomatic presence as a non-diplomatic actor carrying out that part of the mission. So yes, U.S. government is doing good things. All right. Thank you.
Just wait for a second. Well, I want to thank both Claire and Jesselyn for the presentation, and because of that, we're giving 600 healthy meals to Harvest Against Hunger, and I'll let you share that with Jesselyn. You know, one of the things that I was going to ask about, but which was also covered, is to remember that right now a partner has been the federal government. We have to watch out in all of our Rotary giving, both from an international standpoint as well as what we're just hearing today. We can't, as Rotarians, stand for the fact that the dollars are not going in the direction that we have cared about. So it is more than just what Claire has said. This becomes a political situation that we are all supporting as Rotarians. And that means take some political action. If you have any contacts in Congress, use them. This is essential. If you perhaps know somebody in the White House, for God's sake, tell them what needs to be done. This is serious. This is something that normally we don't talk about in Rotary, but I will tell you, our base, what we stand for in Rotary, is in danger by our own government. And we can't let that happen. Thank you. Yeah, you get me on my high horse and I just sort of keep going. Anyway, thank you very much. I also want to thank REB Enterprises, Carl Benke, and Bloodworks Northwest for their meeting sponsorship support. And welcome anybody else and any other corporation to give us some support too as we embark on our next year when Jan Levy will take over the podium and I can melt into the background. So thank you very much on that. And I'm going to call Jaime up for some quick announcements and then I get the podium back again.
Hi everyone. This is the world's fastest announcement, so bear with me. And if you can't understand, I apologize greatly. Okay, 18th of May, coming up, Wellspring Paint Party. Sign up today, Rotarians from 9 to noon this Saturday. You're gonna help Wellspring refresh their lobby with a fresh coat of paint. RSPs on the club. May 19th, we have our Walk the Waterfront 2.0 with Bob Donegan. Purchase a ticket on the Mayberry. You can join us at 4:30 on Wednesday. It's a waterfront walking tour with Bob. The tour will start at Ivar's House of Clams on the waterfront. How many times can you say waterfront? I got that. May 20th, Business Mentors Showcase. Our fellow students here are scholarships. Thank you to Kunal, Carson, Fatima, Jeanette, Daniela, Abdul, Ellie, and Kyle. Sorry if I got your names right or wrong. It will be a luncheon meeting. We'd like to invite club members to UW's campus on Tuesday, May 20th for an end-of-year reception for the program participants. They help out the community with minority business owners and to enhance their growth. Pretty awesome stuff. The 21st of 23rd of May, we have Uplift New Northwest Tour and Rise graduation ceremony attendance. There's a low number of registrations for this event, so please RSVP. Club Director Mary Goldie, if you're able to attend, join us Friday on May 23rd. It's from 11:45 to 1:15, and we tour 2025 large local grant, the one that we gave last year for over 100,000, which is amazing. Then it's the 28th of May. We have Zoom-only meeting with Justice Deborah Stevens. Please note that this meeting will be our final Zoom meeting of the year, so let's have as big as attendance as possible. Then the following is on June 4th, lunch meeting at the WAC, which we just said that's our new home. It'll be a taste of our new club lunch venue when we return from the WAC. We'll be featuring Washington State Attorney General Nick Brown. So please RSVP today. There you go. We got some more people that you want to gung-ho for government to change. And 12th of June, Rotary Boys and Girls Club anniversary party. The facility in the 19th Avenue turned 70 years old. Join fellow club members and other participants from 5 to 7 in celebration. RSVP can be found on the club website. Then we have a June 18th lunch meeting at the Motif Hotel with Rabbi Dan Bridge. Is that your brother? Yeah. This will be our final meeting of the year. We'll feature an annual passing of the gavel on ceremony, so that's a good one always to attend. And last but not least is our President's Party on June 25th. We're trying out a new location for our President's Party, enjoying 100 free parking spaces. Woo! Seattle skyline views during the President's Party from 5 to 8. It's on the 25th, again on Wednesday. So let's send out President John in style and thank him for his leadership this year. Thank you.
Thank you, Jaime. And Kathy, do you want to come forward? And do tell them about June 16th.
Okay.
At the same time.
All right. Hi, everybody. After today's wonderful program about Vietnam, I'm happy to let you know that our programming for the rest of May also includes an international theme. In 2 weeks, on May 21st, we'll look at the state of play in our world from a diplomat's perspective at our annual Diplomacy Day celebration. Just a reminder if you want to take a note. This special annual event is open to all Rotarians in our region and offers a meaningful opportunity to foster global engagement and to strengthen international relationships. This inspiring gathering spotlights Rotary's role in advancing diplomacy and features esteemed guests from the diplomatic corps. It's a unique opportunity to celebrate international fellowship and Rotary's commitment to promoting peace and understanding. This year will be the 9th year Seattle Rotary has hosted the Diplomacy Day celebration, and I thought it might be fun to take a look back at this event in prior years. Our first Diplomacy Day celebration was in February of 2016, when we celebrated citizen diplomacy and the role of international students in engaging greater understanding across the globe. And our guest speaker was the president of Seattle Pacific University. In 2017, our annual Diplomacy Day celebration featured the consul generals from Mexico and Canada talking about diplomacy across North America, and CNN reporter Jill Doherty was our moderator. The annual Diplomacy Day celebration in 2018 brought together almost the entire consular corps in Washington to recognize the work of honorary consuls in our region. In 2019, we focused on diplomacy that advances the welfare of children, and the CEO of UNICEF, the United Nations International Children's Emergency Relief Fund, was our guest speaker for Diplomacy Day that year. Early in 2021, when we were still meeting on Zoom due to the pandemic, Ralph Monroe, a past club president and former Washington Secretary of State, shared his take on the U.S. role in the world still gripped by COVID when the very first vaccines were being introduced. The world was stunned by Russia's invasion of Ukraine in February of 2022, so Diplomacy Day that year highlighted the strategic implications and the diplomatic realignments. Diplomacy Day in 2023 featured the career diplomats representing the nations of the North Pacific, Japan, South Korea, and Taiwan, as they talked about security issues in their region, including the hot topic of China. And just last year, April of 2024, we spotlighted India and introduced the new Consul General of India shortly after he had opened the new Indian consulate here in the Pacific Northwest. So what's up this year? In 2 weeks, on May 21st, the Diplomacy Day 2025 will look at the regional impacts of what's playing out diplomatically on the world stage. So please plan to attend and consider bringing a guest to our 9th annual Diplomacy Day celebration. And there are 100 free parking spots on site. I'm going to invite John to come and join me, and I'm going to ask Jeff Borick to stand up, and I'm going to ad-lib this since you asked me to. Every year, our district, which is basically the greater King County area and comprises 52 clubs, celebrates accomplishments during that Rotary year. And the Rotary year is going to end on June 30th. On June 16th, we are having a district-wide celebration. Club awards will be given. You'll be invited to come and celebrate John's successful year. But there's something very special about this event this year. It's at this year-end event that there is the passing of the district governor banner. The current district governor, Rochelle Bouchon from the Rotary Club of Bellevue, will be passing on what's been on display at her club, the district governor banner, will be passing it on to the incoming district governor, Jeff Borick, our past club president. And the fun part of that long-standing tradition is that members of the club go up to the front of the ballroom and stand together with the governors as they exchange banners. And so all the folks from Bellevue Rotary will be there as Governor Rochelle hands off the governor banner to Jeff. And we need as many Seattle Rotarians there to support Jeff. So you'll get some more information and an invitation to join us on June 16th to celebrate John and our incoming Governor, Jeff Borick.
All right, thank you very much, Kathy. I appreciate that. And now another announcement. We have one from past President Stan Chrissy.
Thank you very much, John. First, sometimes people say, why Rotary? Gosh, after Geraldine's presentation, PeaceTrees, after hearing what's coming up with our international presence, how could we get along without Rotary? Really, ask yourselves, how could we get along without Rotary? We need more. Listen, I sent out a notice regarding Heather Fitzpatrick and her husband Brad, and they're in a very tough situation. And it cannot be minimized. But this quote from an email to me from Heather really got me. She said, "I am particularly appreciative of my Rotary colleagues who have participated in the BloodWorks Rotary Blood Drive. Brad has had infusions of both platelets and whole blood to help stabilize him. I'm hoping that now has a bit more of the Rotary spirit moving around inside him and helping him heal." I got this card, and any of you who have donated blood in the last 60 days or will pledge to make a donation in the next 30 days, please come up and sign this card. It'll be a direct message to Heather and Brad that we're behind them. We're doing what we can, okay? But only those two categories. If it lasts 60 days, because you can't donate more frequently than that, or a pledge to donate within the next 30 days. And I'll be right over here. I've got pens. Just put your name on here, and we'll send that card to them. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Stan. And we're almost ready to adjourn, but I always like to talk a little bit about occurrences on the day. I'm going back to 1664 when Louis XIV of France inaugurated the Palace of Versailles. Think about that. In 1700, William Penn began monthly meetings for blacks advocating emancipation in 1700. 1789, George Washington had his first inaugural ball. In 1847, the American Medical Association was founded in Philadelphia. In 1914, the U.S. Congress established Mother's Day this Sunday, although it was established back in 1914. And in 1915, the Lusitania was sunk by a German submarine off the southern coast of Ireland, with almost 1,200 people lost. And in 1945, we celebrated the unconditional surrender of the German Third Reich to the Allies, and at Reims, northern France. Today is the birthday of Gary Cooper, Eva Perón, and it's National Anxiety Disorders Screening Day. And boy, do we need that. And with that, we're adjourned.